I am no bug. I am...
Fear not, Atomix, because that's exactly what we're going to be trying to figure out today. Hello everyone, Kiri here, and today we're going to be exploring the speculative biology of my second favourite Benton alien,
Atomix!
In this video, I aim to propose a solid conclusion for Atomix's origins, so without further ado, let's get right into it. Start up the nuclear winner, because it's hero time. So, I have three potential ideas for the origins of Atomix's species. And no, before anyone tries to tell me in the comments, Atomix is not a Pripytosian A, that's information canon exclusively to the Ink Tank's 5YL continuity, not the actual Ben 10 franchise. I only say that because I'm sick of people telling me that Atomix has a species name. It gets on my nerves, I'm sorry. For the sake of structuring this video, I call these three ideas the Nuclear Ooze, the Dangerous Toy, and the New Life. So let's start by discussing the Nuclear Ooze idea. What if, instead of this entire Megazord looking thing, Atomix is actually only the fluid inside the suit? Similar to how NRG is a living being made of energy that exists within a metal suit. A point in favour of this idea would be the similarities between Atomix's voice and Goop's. Listen closely to the following voice clips, and you might be able to hear the kind of warbling effect used to make these aliens sound more gelatinous and slimy.
You know this is cool.
I am no bug. I am... yes! Atomix!
See what I mean? Perhaps Atomix is actually a slime-like species, similar to Goop and Gluto, and wears a protective containment suit either because it's too dangerous when left by itself, or because it can't function properly without a suit. If we propose that Atomix is just a big ball of gooey fluid in a suit, his powers of nucleokinesis could also explain how his suit is powered and controlled in the first place. In real life, the most powerful reactors we have on Earth are nuclear, and nuclear energy is by far the most effective when it comes to producing power. Perhaps Atomix's suit is operated by the innate nuclear power within the slime-like host, and it is able to remotely operate the suit by influencing where and how much power it allocates to each individual part of the suit. Kind of like piloting a mech, except you are both the pilot and the battery. It would make sense that a species able to produce nuclear power would, on their homeworld, develop technology to take advantage of such an adaptation. Especially for a creature that is made of either fluid or slime, having a tough protective suit that can be used for a wide array of tasks in daily life would be especially helpful. It would also explain how Atomix is able to move despite seemingly not having any internal structural skeleton, as seen by the fact that we can't see any structural arm supports of any kind within the exposed regions of the suit, implying that the fluid inside the suit is what actually causes the suit to move, rather than any internal mechanisms. That being said, that's all I can really propose for this first idea. I really like it, I think it's a super fun concept, but there's not really much to it, so let's discuss the other two topics to see if there's any more meat on those bones. The second explanation, the Dangerous Toy, refers to the idea that Atomix's species might perhaps be the artificial creation of another species, such as how the Galvans created the Galvanic Mechamorphs and how the Nalgians created the Nalgian Destructors. There are multiple reasons why a species would potentially want to invent a living nuclear reactor. Firstly, nuclear power plants are very dangerous, and there is potential for reactor meltdowns, and in such cases, catastrophic results that follow aren't really all that desirable. So, if your reactor is alive and sentient, then it can operate independently and thus doesn't need such strict observation when it comes to maintaining the overall stability of the reactor, because the reactor can literally take care of itself. Secondly, seeing as Atomix can get up and freely move around, even fly, that means it's a mobile nuclear power plant, and thus theoretically could go wherever needed to provide a powerful source of energy, such as in the case of a blackout. Thirdly, the more obvious reason why you would want to build a living nuclear reactor, weapons of war. By building a living, thinking nuclear bomb, your advantage over your opponents is significantly drastic, I would say. And fourth, an idea that I personally find quite interesting, livestock. In the Ben 10 franchise, there are several species who are capable of eating radioactive material. As such, perhaps the invention of Atomix's species was to have a portable supply of renewable nuclear energy to feast on. It's sort of like having a mobile blood bank, except, well, nuclear. Now, our third and final idea, the New Life. What if, like Nanomech, Atomix is actually a wholly unique specimen that doesn't belong to any existing species, and therefore can't be found elsewhere in the universe? We know from Nanomech that Ben can use the Omnitrix to create biosynthetic or cyborg life forms by combining his DNA with a machine, this case being part human, part nanochip, so the idea isn't immediately implausible to suggest. Now, let's look at what evidence we have to support this particular theory. Throughout the Ben 10 franchise, we have seen the Omnitrix unlock DNA samples based on relevant environmental factors. Cannonbolt being unlocked in the presence of the Big Tick that destroyed Arborea, Wildvine being unlocked so that Ben could communicate with the Mycelium, Snarrow being unlocked during an encounter with the Ender aliens, Kickenhawk being unlocked while in the presence of Liam, specifically not by scanning Liam's DNA into the Omnitrix beforehand, by the way, unlocking Bullfrag during the Incursion invasion, Nanomech being created in the presence of the Nanochip Queen, unlocking several aliens just from being in the vicinity of other members of the species in Undertown or the Plumbers, and several others that I'm sure I missed as well. Seeing as we know the Omnitrix is more than capable of unlocking or creating wholly new species in relevant circumstances, it isn't impossible to suggest that Atomix was created through a similar chain of events. But then, if that's the case, what machine is Atomix? Well, let's look at the episode where he first was introduced. In this episode, Albedo is trying to transfer Azimuth's brain into his own body so that he can become smarter than ever before. Speaking hypothetically, such a process could potentially require Azimuth's brain to be split up and then have each individual atom reincorporated into Albedo's own mind, in order to preserve the stored intelligence within each brain cell. Otherwise, Albedo would just have a bigger brain but none of the knowledge that actually came along with it. However, splitting atoms results in a tremendous amount of energy being released, and this can lead to, well, nuclear reactions. Isn't it curious that Ben unlocks a transformation capable of using nucleokinesis in an episode that also involves a machine that, again, hypothetically, uses the process of nuclear fission and fusion to break down a brain into its base atoms and then reintegrate it into a new location? On top of that, Azimuth even names Atomix before Atomix ever used any level of his abilities, meaning that he likely figured out what Atomix's potential abilities were based on the circumstances that led to his creation in the first place, that being the brain transferring machine. With all that said, Atomix is part human, part nuclear fission/fusion device. Of course, I did have to make some leaps of logic to get here, but in the first place, Galvan technology is so far beyond human comprehension that I wasn't going to be able to reasonably make this conclusion without crossing wires somewhere down the line, I think. But this theory would also explain why Atomix literally has the Omnitrix symbol on his torso. I know the Omnitrix symbol represents the intergalactic symbol of peace, but if Atomix is a naturally occurring alien species, why would he evolve to have this symbol on his body in the first place? And if he was man-made, why the hell would his creators put the symbol of galactic peace on a living nuclear reactor? Like, as a way to mock the idea of intergalactic peace? It seems kind of counterproductive to put a sign of peace on a nuclear fucking bomb, no? I guess unless they're trying to say that this is a bomb that was made for peace, not war? Like, perhaps, you know, showcasing that nuclear power can be used to create a species rather than just destroy other species? I don't know, that doesn't sound like the smartest way to go about that, to be honest. But with all that said, those are the three potential ideas I had to explain the origins of Atomix. Let me know which one you guys like most in the comments below. And now let's move on to our member thank yous, last video's poll, and this video's poll. Big thank you to our channel members, Victor Masusik, Adiana Jones, Riverjoy, and our newest member, Boa310. Welcome aboard, I hope you enjoy your stay, I'm very happy to have you here. Last video, I asked you guys if you would rather see Torkoal get a pre-evolution, a new evolution, a mega evolution, or a regional variant. With 4.7k total votes, it seems that an evolution was the most popular answer between you guys. Personally, I think I'd like to see a regional variant, perhaps like a fire-water type that has geysers or something. I don't know, I just think that'd be really cool. I know Volcanion already kind of does that, but, I mean, it's not a good Pokemon. GigaChad LC20U and Magdalena Matusik 6717. Congratulations on guessing that I would have liked to see a regional variant. Alright, time to move on to this video's poll. So this time, folks, I'm going to be asking you which Ben 10K fusion is your favourite out of Uprig, Goop Mungasaur, Crash Shocker, or Atomic X. I feel like this is going to be a controversial vote. As usual, anybody who guesses which one I like the most in the comments will be getting a shout out next video. See you next time, fellow heroes.